All right. So, Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell, the highest ranking senator in the Republican Party, recently decided to give us yet another reminder in terms of the gerontocracy that we are currently living under here in the United States, as he was addressing the press in this most recent event, and his brain appeared to just sort of like stroke out. And I'm not saying that just in like a turn of phrase sort of way, but like literally this man may have just suffered a stroke here. So let's just go ahead and watch this clip real quick.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDAA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Wait a minute. Are you good?
Okay, Mitch?
Just checking.
Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? I'll take it. Go back.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
I mean, yikes, right? Major yikes there. I'll show you one more quick clip here of him being basically like escorted away after this event here. Okay, so again, I mean, these are the most powerful people in the entire country, in the most powerful country in the entire, world right now. All right, these are the people who are leading the most powerful country on the face of the planet, right? Mitch McConnell, brain sort of just completely, short-circuiting as he is in the middle of a goddamn sentence. Now, obviously, I mean, again, I'm not going to say that, I wish anything bad happened to him, but it seems like this guy should probably be ushered to the hospital immediately, right? To have some sort of checks done, right? But then we have this follow-up here where apparently he came back and he was asked to address what just happened, because obviously that's not like a normal thing that a normal functioning human being does, and he responded to that here.
Could you address what happened here at the start of the press conference, and was it related to your injury from earlier this year where you suffered a concussion? Is that...
No, I'm fine.
You're fine, you're fully able to
Yeah.
do your job?
Mr. Lear, can I just get...
All right, so probably the single least convincing "I'm fine" that I've ever heard in my entire life. We also have one more clip here of a journalist asking him what I think is a pretty substantive question, given the circumstances here, about who could potentially replace Mitch McConnell if he was unable to serve the duties as he is currently participating in as the Senate Minority Leader for the Republican Party here.
Do you have anybody in mind to replace you when you're no longer the conference leader?
All right, so not exactly sure what you're laughing about there, because you just looked like you had a stroke in the middle of a press conference, right? Not exactly something I would be laughing off. Now, obviously, this is a bipartisan issue. Typically, I'm not the kind of guy who is going to be pushing for like strict term limits, or not term limits, but strict age limits in terms of how old our members of Congress should be. I mean, it depends on the person, the individual. Obviously, you have somebody who, like Bernie Sanders, who's up there in age. I think he's close to like Biden's age of like 80 years old or so. And, he's perfectly fine. He seems to be cognitively entirely there. But then you also have people like Mitch McConnell. You also have people like Joe Biden, who's 80 years old and frequently has these mental mishaps that he never used to have when he was a senator or even a vice president, for example. You also have somebody like Donald Trump, the leader of the Republican Party, 77 years old. Chuck Schumer in the Senate for the Democrats, 72 years old. Nancy Pelosi, 83 years old for the leadership within the House of Representatives. Now, obviously, she was recently replaced, but she's sort of kind of still the leadership in the Democratic Party. And then, of course, we have none other than Dianne Feinstein, as pointed out here, one of the two senators from the most populous states in the entire country, California, who is 90 years old. And as I covered relentlessly on this channel, recently just got back from some sort of like brain injury slash, shingles that she had, where they had to literally pull her in a wheelchair where she was not able to answer questions. Multiple reports, countless reports of people behind the scenes, both staffers and other members of Congress who have pointed out that she just straight up has full-blown dementia. And so, I mean, listen, again, at the end of the day, I'm not necessarily in favor of setting like strict age caps in terms of when people are, able to serve in these positions, but there comes a point, right? There comes a point where if you're Dianne Feinstein, for example, right, where you are clearly not able to serve the function of your job, right? I mean, keep in mind, Dianne Feinstein, she was gone for like a couple of months, completely blockaded the ability for the Biden administration to appoint incredibly crucial judges to their positions because she was part of the vote count that the Democrats needed to push through some of these people. You have people like Joe Biden, again, who is now running for re-election, even though he's been struggling to get through this first term. God knows what's going to happen, even if he wins in a potential second term, and God forbid we end up getting stuck with somebody like Kamala Harris as the president because she just happens to be the next in line according to that line of succession. So I mean, these are the people who are running our government. I mean, there's got to be some sort of standards that are put in place, right? I mean, there's got to be some sort of I don't know, whether it's like a test or something, or some sort of an ability to prove yourself and demonstrate that you are actually cognitively capable of being one of the most powerful people in this country and therefore around the world. I mean, it seems like that would be the bare minimum, but we have, a two-party apparatus here, whether it's Donald Trump and the Republican Party, whether it's Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. Keep in mind, these are two frontrunners for their 2024 prospective nomination processes, right, in either of these various parties, and both of them are, at this point, as far as we know, not even willing to debate within their primaries, right? Joe Biden doesn't want to debate RFK and Marianne Williamson. Trump doesn't want to debate DeSantis and the rest of those goons in the Republican Party. So, I mean, they are not even willing to put themselves to the test. And it's honestly, I mean, obviously it's like disgraceful. I mean, it's like embarrassing. It's kind of sad in some sense, especially with somebody like Dianne Feinstein, who I don't even think at this point has the ability to recognize the position that she is in and to make the decision, actively make the decision to realize, oh, I should probably retire at this point. She's kind of just being propped up by staffers. And maybe that's more so the case with somebody like Mitch McConnell than we even knew previously. So, I mean, there's got to be something done about this. I mean, clearly, again, we have, the Senate minority leader in the Republican Party, Mitch McConnell. We have the Senate majority leader, Chuck Schumer. We have the, House leader, at least figuratively, with Nancy Pelosi. We have the leadership of both parties at the national level with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I mean, these people are 375 years old and they just need to get the fuck out of the way, right? Obviously, I have my disagreements with many other young Republicans. What I care more about is actual policy and ideological frameworks and things like that. But at the end of the day, these people are not even, capable of doing the basics of their jobs. And so obviously we need to have some better standards in place, and something needs to be done because we need new generational leadership in this country, not just for the sake of their age, but also just for the sake of actually implementing policy that is going to materially benefit younger generations in this country, instead of some of these like millionaire corrupt elitists who are sitting on top of this gerontocracy of a system that we call a government here in the United States.
Everyone is saying good politic guy has the best politic. Believe me, no one does it like him. Believe me, everyone is saying